Did you know that running an Airbnb in Las Vegas is extremely difficult, if not almost impossible? I'm standing in one of the very few places where you can still do it and not break the law. So don't worry, if you're still thinking about doing Airbnb, watch this video. I'm gonna give you some hope and share with you the loophole that nobody talks about. Every single week, I speak to investors who all tell me the same thing. I want a place I can use when I visit Las Vegas and I wanna rent it out the rest of the year. Here's the reality though that not many people are telling you about. Clark County and the city of Las Vegas have some of the toughest short-term rental laws in the country. Licenses are capped, spacing rules are strict, and new permits have almost been impossible to get. So how are people doing it? Well, that's the question everyone asks me, and the reality is, it's because there's a legal loophole, and it's called a condotel. Now, if you've never heard that term before, don't worry about it, you're not alone. But this is a condotel, a condo hotel, and it's just a hybrid between a hotel suite and a condominium that you actually own. Just like the one I'm standing in right now, it's a really great investment for anybody who's thinking about doing what they asked me for in the beginning of this video. You're gonna get a deed, you can use the unit whenever you want, and when you're not here, you can rent it out nightly through the on-site hotel program. Some cases, people actually will operate the units themselves, but there's two options there, which we're gonna talk about later. So today I'm gonna show you exactly how all of this works using this real-life example at the Palms Place. This is a very cool 1-bed, 2-bath luxury suite on the 50th floor with a wraparound, amazing balcony overlooking the Strip and gorgeous mountains in Las Vegas. It happens to be for sale right now. By the end of this video, you're gonna know how condotels operate. You're gonna know about all the financing structures that you need to be aware of to make sure that you can pay for it. I'm gonna give you a full list of pros and cons, not just for investors, but for primary owners, people who might just wanna live here full time. And most importantly, I really wanna share with you why a condotel might be your smartest and sometimes the only way to do Airbnb in Las Vegas. So let's jump in. So as we're kicking off this video, of course, I just need to remind you that I am your Las Vegas real estate relocation investment, live your best life bestie. And I want to be the one who helps you if you are thinking about doing Airbnb or moving here or investing here. So scan the QR code on the screen so we can talk about your plans. Okay, back to the business at hand. Okay, so let's start by explaining what the hell a condotel actually is in a little bit more detail. So like I said before, a condotel is simple in theory, but it's unique in practice because it is a condominium inside a hotel operation. So you can own it like the other condos are around the city with a recorded deed. You do have HOA dues, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it lives inside a building that functions as a hotel, which makes it super easy to turn it into an Airbnb. So because of that hotel component, the condotels are classified as non-warrantable. What that means is you can't use a standard Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac conventional loan. You've got to do something a little bit differently with portfolio lenders or a DSCR program or cash. But we can talk about that later. In Las Vegas, there are really only a handful of places like this one that are going to allow you to do the Airbnb nightly. This one is Palms Place. There's Signature at MGM, there's Trump Las Vegas, Vidara. Those are a few of the very short lists that are offering this in Las Vegas, but Palms Place is one of the originals, and it remains honestly my go-to anytime an investor calls me and wants to do exactly what we're talking about today. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm standing on the 50th floor of my latest listing, which is at the Palms Place. This unit is 1,220 square feet. It's 1 bedroom, 2 baths, and it's located in one of the most beautiful setups in Las Vegas with a fully furnished experience and a wraparound awesome balcony that I'm standing on. We're gonna show you the best view of this place in a little bit, so stick around till the end. Palms Place was built from the ground up as a condo hotel, so it wasn't converted. It was engineered for dual use, which is really cool. The amenities are really like a full-service resort with a pool and a spa and a fitness center, a concierge, valet, and 24-hour security, which is pretty cool. And they even have room service through the Palms Hotel, which is right next door. So for guests, it feels really like they're staying at a luxury hotel stay. And for owners, it's kind of like property that can generate income legally, but also have a badass time when you stay and use it for yourself. This specific unit is currently listed for the price that's on the screen, and it's gonna be the example of what we use throughout this entire video when we talk about all the financing and the possibilities. Now let's talk about the rules that matter when it comes to the HOA and short-term rentals, because there's a couple of them that you need to know about. First, let's kick off with the building and the actual HOA rules for Palms Place. Palms Place is no different than almost all of Las Vegas. It runs under a master HOA. Dues are going to vary each month by unit size and also how high up you are. But if you're starting around the mid 500s or larger one bedrooms like this one, you're going to run in the 4-figure range. But that's okay. We know people that are still making money even with those HOA dues. But that does cover things like hotel level maintenance, that covers like security, valet, common utilities, the common amenities, all of that. Some units can also enroll in the on-site hotel program, which I've mentioned a few times, which historically is operating in a 50-50 revenue split, which could change at any time, so don't hold me to that. But some of the contracts now use a 20 to 30% management fee. It just depends. It's always good to verify the current schedule in writing, which we will do if you end up making an offer on any of these properties. Okay, now let's talk about the jurisdiction and short-term rental laws, just a few of them. I'm not going to touch on everything, but the reality of the situation is the licensing and spacing and the caps can really make traditional Airbnbs nearly impossible to make any money on in the residential zones. In 2025, enforcement of the laws and the rules, people who are breaking those rules and making it hard for you, have become even more strict than ever before, but it's a fluctuating process. Actually, in September of 2025, a federal judge temporarily blocked certain enforcement, which has caused a lot of confusion and a lot of issues. So again, you really got to know what you're doing. The good news though is that those things that they changed actually made it better for condotel owners. So if you own inside the Palms Place and you rent through their hotel program, you're operating within the legal hotel structure, which is amazing. And that makes this a model that's very viable for you to actually make money on and work it out to where you have a great investment product. Since condotels are non-warrantable, you're going to need to expect at least a 25% down payment. You're going to need a higher FICO score, like 680 and up, and you're going to definitely be paying slightly higher interest rates because these are portfolio and investment type of homes. Stronger reserves and cash flow requirements might be required as well, but we can help you think through all of that when it comes time to thinking about what you might do with your condotel. The good news though is that more and more lenders are re-entering this condotel market, whereas they got out of it for a while, and that includes refinancing programs that did not even exist a few years ago. So let's talk about the type of potential buyers for this kind of product. From an investor perspective, your primary goal is typically income focused, obviously. So here's what you need to know. Why do investors like condotels? Well, because they give you the legal right to sell them nightly as rentals, and you can rent them a little bit higher based on what's going on in the city. It's really a hands-off management experience if you just sign up for that hotel program that I mentioned, which means the Palms Place handles everything from bookings to cleanings and operating the check-in process for your guests. That's super important from an experience perspective, but also they will help you throttle that pricing based on what's going on in town, which will yield you more money, hopefully. It is a hybrid use property, so you can definitely enjoy this while you're in town and rent it when you're not here without any hassle of all the cleanup. The scarcity premium is another thing that not many people talk about. Because there are so few buildings like this, the demand stays pretty healthy. The risks that you need to understand as an investor are simply this. The fee load is definitely heavy. The HOA dues, the splitting of the money that you make on the Airbnb with the hotel, the cleaning fees, the taxes, all of that can eat away at your margin pretty quickly. But don't worry, we will help you run those numbers before we make an offer. There's regulatory shifts that happen all the time, so even though condo hotels are hotel licensed, Clark County might change something that could impact you in the future. We do not know what to expect on that front. And when it comes to financing costs, like I said before, your loan is going to carry a little bit of a higher rate, and you're going to need a bigger down payment and all those things that I've already mentioned. There will be seasonality when it comes to the money that you make and the rentability. So weekdays and summer slowdowns do expect lower occupancy, but again, we really try to help you run those numbers, and we've got experience with our current investors that already own here. Because of the fact that there are fewer qualified buyers than resale homes like in the rest of the valley, the exit liquidity can be a little bit slow. It can take a little bit longer to get this sold when and if you are ready. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you're buying to live here, your value is actually convenience. You get that hotel style experience every single day, concierge, security, spa, pool, valet, all the cool stuff that I mentioned before. And the 50th floor views from this unit at least are pretty unmatched. So you do need to know this up front. The HOAs are always going to be a lot higher than a typical residential location in Las Vegas, and that's just because you get all of those amenities that I just mentioned. There's always going to be guest traffic coming in and out, so it's not going to feel very homey, but inside your unit, you can make it feel however you want. The financing is definitely specialized, and like I said before, there's a smaller pool of buyers, so your resale liquidity is a little bit smaller and it will take longer, but if you're living here, at least you get to live here while you wait for it to sell. Now, if you need a low HOA payment and total privacy, this is not going to be for you, not even by a long shot. But if you plan to use the hotel program, even if it's just occasionally while you travel, you could consider that extra income as a bonus. That's all I'm saying. It's not a guarantee, but it's definitely a cool thing to have access to. Now let's talk about how the rental program options work for this place, because it's very different and very cool, and why this works so well for so many investors. Option one is going to be the hotel program professional management experience, which I've mentioned a few times in this video already. It's usually about a 50-50 split for management, which we have to verify when we put you into contract, because that can change. But as of right now, it's 50-50. So that means you're getting 50% and the hotel's getting 50%. It is a turnkey operation with zero headache from you. They handle literally everything. There's a simplified tax and licensing compliance process, which is kind of cool. And again, they're going to handle the cleaning, the rate changes with everything going on in town. They're going to really make sure that your guests have a cool experience checking in, and you just collect the check at the end of every month. Now, option two is an owner-directed short-term rental, which is only allowed at certain buildings. This is one of them, but you do have to check because it can kind of be tricky. They can make it a lot harder for your clients and guests to check in, and they don't control your pricing. So you're gonna have to be on it all the time, figuring out when to raise and when to lower the prices to fit with whatever's selling in Las Vegas. There is a higher potential of net and higher responsibility for you, but it's a bit of a headache if you're not here local. So I kind of consider the hotel option the best option. The other thing to note is if you do not take part in that hotel program, you're responsible for the short-term rental licensing and everything associated with your unit. A lot of owners start in the hotel program, learn the business, kind of figure it all out, and then later they decide to pull it out of that and manage it themselves. Again, everybody's different, every investor's different. It's about how involved you really want to be, but we can help you run all those numbers and really think through it. Now, here's some things to just be aware of as of 2025. Again, when you're watching this video, it could be very different. Palms Place right now is still among the towers that are permitted for the short-term rentals, like I've said before. That could change, and that's something that we'll have to address when we're putting you into contract. The HOA range is going to be anywhere from like $800 a month up to $1,600 a month, and it really does depend on how high up you are, like the 50th floor, and also just how big the unit is. When it comes to financing, just being really real with you, it's not warrantable, so you can't use the Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and you're gonna have to have a higher FICO score and about 25% down at a minimum. Historically, like I said, the 50-50 split is an amazing process that goes through the hotel experience. So we'll look at those details and see if you're willing to give that much up, but they do handle everything, so something to really heavily consider. And when it comes to the legal trend and what's happening right now, they do continue to tighten the rules when it comes to short-term rentals. When it comes to the legality of everything, Clark County continues to tighten rules for other short-term rentals, but condotels have remained pretty similar to the way they started, with a few small exceptions. So we're always keeping an eye on it, and I'll update you if anything changes, but for right now, this is a solid investment. So when you scroll through Airbnb and you see Vegas listings, they're not really all they seem. At the end of the day, some are fully legal and some are licensed and everything's great. It was before the laws and new changes went into effect, but a few of them are still operating illegally. The good news for you though is this is a solid investment. This is a really great loophole, if you will, to be able to do Airbnb, have a solid return, and not worry about the law. Okay, let's review all the pros and cons one last time so that you've got everything clear. For investors, a pro is that obviously you're gonna make short-term rental income. It's a hands-off experience if you do the hotel program, like I said. It's a hybrid use flexibility, so you can come and go as you please. Some of the cons are that there are high fees, regulatory noise, kind of the crazy changes that are happening all over the city, and it's a small buyer pool when you might be ready to sell. So just some things to think about. Now, if you want to live here as a primary owner, you are going to take advantage of the resort amenities and all the services, so it's a real turnkey experience, which is lovely. There's unmatched views like what's behind me, and the location could not be cooler. And there's a potential to kind of offset those costs when you travel or when you're maybe not going to be home by using that hotel program. The cons are going to be, it's very much a hotel style environment, so coming home is you're walking through a lobby with people checking in with their baggage. The HOA overhead is pretty steep, and it's kind of a non-traditional financing experience, which makes it a little bit harder to get approved and to be able to finance. So the question at hand truly is, can you Airbnb in Las Vegas? Of course you can. But if you're gonna be a really smart investor, you wanna do it the way I tell you and not try to go up against all of the rules and regulations that change all the time. It's nearly impossible to do it anyway, so we need to get you buying the right property, which is just like the one I'm standing in right here. That's why condotels like this one at Palms Place exist. They let you enjoy the city, you can earn a little cash on the side, and you can kind of stay away from all the regulatory headaches that everybody else has to deal with in the traditional homes. If you want a full Palms Place packet with more information about this specific listing, we will definitely be able to provide the latest HOA budget, the rental program agreements, all the licensing checklists that you're gonna need, side-by-side pros and cons, and we will definitely help you run the numbers to make sure that this is a profitable investment. So that's it for this video. I hope I've educated you a little bit and I haven't crushed your dreams of doing Airbnb. I hope I've given you more hope than ever. My name is Laci. I am your Las Vegas relocation bestie. If you're thinking about moving to Vegas, even if it's like 50 years from now, or you just kind of want some more information, do yourself a favor, scan the QR code on the screen, and we'll talk soon. See you next time.